Hello people, I am the Real Comic Book Gamer, and today I'll be putting Bane versus Deathstroke, and this is going to be awesome. These are two of the assassins in Arkham Origins, and I just thought this would be a cool battle to do, and one that not very many people I have seen done, so yeah, let's get into it. Now, with these videos, I like to start off with their origins, and Bane was born in the fictional place of Santa Priscilla, which is in the DC universe. It's a fictional place in the DC universe. And his father was a revolutionary, and his father fled before he could serve his sentence. So Bane, as a child, was had to carry out his father's sentence. And in Pinadura, or I don't know how you pronounce it, but yeah, as a child, the warden gave him the name Bane, and Bane was taught by the other inmates how to read and fight, and so that's what he mostly did with his time in the prison, was bodybuilding and reading. And he's a really smart guy, yeah, that's what he did with most of his time. And then Bane practically was the ruler of the prison, calling himself the king of the prison. And then Bane volunteered for Venom. No one else had survived the drug. And he faked his death to get out of the prison, and so he was able to get out. But Venom also has some setbacks. Every 12 hours he has to get injections through his brain, or extreme pain, and he'll become weak. So yeah, that's a not very good side effects. After Bane had escaped from prison by faking his death, he stole a sample of Venom so he could create more Venom, and he had a device to feed it to his brain. And then he had heard tales of Batman, and he thought he was the demonic bat from his dreams since he was a child. So Bane headed to Gotham to kill Batman, and for starters he went and he broke out all the inmates of Arkham. And that took Batman 3 months to get all the villains back into Arkham, and during that time Bane tried to figure out who Batman was and successfully did that. And that's when Bane went and just waited for Batman, a very tired, practically defenseless Batman, at Wayne Manor, and that's where he broke the bat. Because, well, that's what Bane is known for. Everyone knows him for breaking the bat, and that's how he broke him. He had 3 months of having to take all the villains, plus he pumped Riddler full of Venom and did a bunch of other stuff. Bane is a very smart, strong villain, and a very cool Batman villain. Now it is time for Deathstroke's origin. Now, Deathstroke was sent with a group of other soldiers to this base that was unheard of to be trained, and that's where he learned to fight dimensional, like all around him, not just focus on one target, but to fight multiple targets at once. And he got really good training there, and he was the best out of the group that was sent there. And that's also where he met his wife. And yeah, his wife was his captain there. They got married, and Slade Wilson Deathstroke, he volunteered for this experiment from the army that would enhance him and everything, because his life was the army. He did whatever they told him. He did everything. He was in love with combat and everything, and like his wife even says, he lives for the thrill of combat. And then he got paralyzed from the drug, but then it turns out he was fine after that. Like, it just happened for that, but then it sort of drove him crazy. But the serum that happened gave him enhanced everything. He had enhanced strength and superhuman reflexes, speed, everything. And he also, they said this, he can use 90% of his brain, to where I believe it said like normal people can only use 10% of their brain. He can use 90% of his brain. But when this was like right after he had gotten the serum, his wife says his condition would stabilize and worsen. He'd be super powerful one day, then almost comatose the next. But it also drove him somewhat crazy. Like his wife said, Slade grew remorse, purposeless, almost suicidal. And then, but yeah, they had 2 kids then while Slade was there, because he tried to go back, he reapplied for the army to go back into combat, but they rejected him because of his condition. And then Slade became, well, Deathstroke. He became Deathstroke the Terminator. He's a very well-known mercenary. And then these guys came after his family and took his kid from him while he was not there. He was out being Deathstroke. And they just wanted to know who contracted Deathstroke. But Deathstroke, his word is his bond. He is just big on that. And so instead of telling them, he decided to risk it. They had a knife at his kid's throat, and he took out all of them. There were like 5, 6 guys, all of them, and they barely cut his son's throat, so his son could not talk anymore. That's all that happened. His son's still alive, but he couldn't talk, and his wife saw how big he was into being a mercenary and crazy, and so she tried to shoot him, but with his superhuman reflexes, he was able to move out of the way, and she just shot out his eye, and that's why he only has one eye. That's Deathstroke's origin. So yeah, now let's get into the actual battle. Okay, let's get into powers now, and abilities and everything, and like their arsenal. Now, Bane normally does not carry anything with him. Normally, he will sometimes, but he normally just has his venom, which makes him way stronger than anyone. Deathstroke now. Deathstroke, his powers enhance his reflexes, his speed, his strength. He can use 90% of his brain. And so, yeah, but Bane is still stronger, even though Deathstroke has enhanced strength. Bane's venom makes him stronger than Deathstroke. Now, Deathstroke's arsenal normally has his staff, a sword, and then he'll normally have a machine gun or a pistol or something like that. That's what Deathstroke normally has. Is his sword, staff, and then some gun, machine gun, pistol, something. Well, he always has a pistol, but yeah, that's Deathstroke. So now that we're out of the way of powers and arsenal, let's get into the battle. Now, the battle. There are 3 scenarios I'm doing. Number 1, they each have prep time. I'll give it 2 hours of prep time, I guess. So they have 2 hours to prep against each other and figure everything out. And yeah, let's and number 2 is to where they just met, so they have what they would normally have, each of them. And number 3 is to where they have nothing, and for this I'm going to take away their powers too. So this, neither of them have their powers, they don't have any weapons, and yeah, that's going to factor in. And so yeah, those are the 3 scenarios I'm doing. Now, number 1. They each have prep time, and these guys are so big strategists. They're huge, great hand-to-hand combat fighters and great strategists. Now, this round I'm going to have to give to Deathstroke. Deathstroke can use 90% of his brain. Bane cannot. Now, Deathstroke, we saw with planning time, he took down the Justice League. Well, most of the Justice League, excluding Superman, Batman, some other people, but yeah, he took down like Kyle Rayner, Hawkman, Green Arrow, Black Canary, Flash, Wally West Flash, and some others. But yeah, that he took down them in Identity Crisis with prep time, so we see how good he is with prep time. And also Deathstroke, well, never mind, I'll get into that in a bit. But Bane, he beat Batman with prep time. That also took 3 months for him to, because he waited till Batman had gotten everyone, but we see he beat Batman with prep time. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Bane. Now some people will be like, but he beat Batman with prep time. Deathstroke beating Batman without prep time. Deathstroke came to Gotham, and he beat. This is for the next number 2 scenario, which is where they each have their normal equipment and they just met, no prep time. Deathstroke beat Batman without any prep time at all. I mean, at all, and he beat Batman. Bane had to have prep time to beat Batman. He might have beaten Batman some other time. I just don't have the comic without prep time. But that's, as far as I know, he only, he broke Batman in Nightfall. He never beat him again, as far as I know. But there could be some comics. Sorry if I'm wrong. And that's another reason I'm gonna have to give this one to Deathstroke. Deathstroke wins this one, in my opinion. Also, he's a better hand-to-hand combatant, and we have seen Bane take some bullets, but he is not bulletproof. Also, with the swords, Deathstroke could just, he could just cut his venom wires, or whatever you want to call them, his venom tubes, and yeah, he's done. And now for number 3. is they have nothing. This is very close because Bane's a bigger guy than Slade with even without Venom, I believe. But Slade was Bane just had, you know, his training in a prison and everything and some other training, but he's just not. Deathstroke was a killing machine. With or without it, he's a killing machine, so I'm gonna have to go with Deathstroke. So yeah, overall Deathstroke wins 3 out of 3. Deathstroke wins all of these. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like